You better stay in the kitchen with the help, old man. That is where people like you belong. Those words came out of Victoria's mouth. She was the mother of my future son-in-law. She said it just like that, with that fake smile, looking me up and down as if I were trash, as if my 73 years of life were worth nothing, as if everything I am and everything I lived and everything I built meant absolutely nothing to that woman. My name is Michael Evans. I'm 73 years old. I've been a widower for 5 years. I come from Kentucky, from a town so small it does not even appear on maps. And that Saturday afternoon in a mansion in the wealthy Hills District, I realized something that broke my soul. For some people, your value is measured by the clothes you wear and the car you drive. So listen well to this story until the end, and then tell me what you would have done in my place. And also, tell me from which city you are listening to me. Share this with whoever needs to hear it, because what happened next, they will never forget. Everything started 3 weeks earlier. My daughter Emily called me, my little one, my baby, the youngest of my 3 children. She was excited and nervous and happy all at the same time. Dad, I have to tell you something wonderful. She had met someone, Jason, a businessman from the city. They had been dating for a year and things were getting serious. Very serious. Dad, I want you to meet him and his family too. Next Saturday there is a lunch at his parents' house. Please say yes. It is very important to me. How was I going to say no? Emily is my light. Since Sarah passed away, my children are the only thing that keeps me alive. If she was happy, I was happy. It is that simple. Of course I will go, honey. Of course I will go. Whatever you need. But there was something in her voice, something that made me pause. An awkward silence. And then she said, Dad, there is something I have to ask you. I stayed silent, waiting. Jason family is, well, they are people with a lot of money. They live in the hills, you know. They have big businesses and a huge house. They are that kind of people. And does that matter, honey? It does not matter, Dad. Of course it does not matter. Only that, well, I want everything to turn out well. I want them to like you. I want them to see how good you are. There I felt it. That fear in her voice. That worry that her old dad, her simple dad, would not be up to par, and that hurt me more than she could imagine. But I swallowed the lump in my throat and told her, Do not worry, honey. Everything is going to be fine, I promise you. I hung up the phone and stayed there, sitting in my living room, looking at the photos of my Sarah on the wall. What do I do, my love? I asked her in a low voice, as if she could hear me. What do I do? Days passed. Emily called me 2 more times to confirm. Dad, you are still going right. Yes, honey, I will be there. But every time we talked, I noticed that anxiety in her, that worry. On Friday, a day before the lunch, my daughter Mary called me, the oldest of my children, always the most direct. Dad, Emily told me about the lunch tomorrow. Yes, what is wrong? Dad, please behave yourself. Do not make heavy jokes. Do not say things out of place. These people are different. There it was again. That word, different. Mary, I always behave myself. When have you seen me do something improper? No, Dad, it is not that. It is just that, well, you know how you are. Sometimes you are very direct, very country, and these people are not like that. They are from another class. Another class, as if there were classes of human beings. It is fine, honey. I will be calm. Do not worry. That night, I almost did not sleep. I kept tossing and turning in bed, thinking about my life, about everything I worked for, about everything I achieved, thinking about my Sarah and how she always told me never to change, that I should never let the world take away my essence, and then I do not know why I made a decision that even I did not understand completely at that moment. Saturday morning, I stood in front of my closet. There hanging were my 2 good suits, the ones I used when I had meetings, well ironed, well cared for. But I did not grab them. I looked for my simplest clothes, a white shirt already half faded by the years, an old pair of jeans but clean, my black shoes worn out but well polished. I saw myself in the mirror. I looked exactly like what I was, a common and ordinary old man, a simple grandfather, and for some reason that I still did not understand entirely, that was exactly what I wanted. I went down to my truck, that 1998 Ford that still worked perfectly. I maintained it every 6 months. I took care of it like gold. I did not need anything more luxurious. What for? I drove from my modest neighborhood to the hills. The trip was long because of the traffic. And while I drove, the streets were changing. They were getting cleaner, more elegant, the houses bigger, the cars more expensive, Ferraris and Porsches and Mercedes-Benz, all passing me as if my truck were invisible. I arrived at the address Emily had given me. And when I saw the house, no, the mansion, I felt something in my stomach. It was not fear. It was not envy. It was something else. It was like a confirmation that what I was about to experience was going to be uncomfortable. The house had 3 floors, perfect gardens like from a magazine, a huge electric gate, security cameras in every corner. I parked my truck out there between a BMW and an Audi. My Ford looked like the ugly duckling. I rang the bell. A voice came out of the intercom. Yes. Good afternoon. I am here for the lunch. I am Michael Evans' Emily father. Silence. Then yes, come in. The gate opened slowly. I walked through that garden so perfect that it was scary to step on it. Everything was impeccable. Too impeccable. As if nobody really lived there. An employee in a suit opened the main door for me. He looked me up and down. I saw his expression. That look of doubt, of surprise. As if asking himself, does this man come to the lunch? Please come in. They're on the back terrace. I walked through that huge house. Marble floors. Paintings that looked like they were from a museum. Furniture that surely cost more than what many people earn in a year. Everything cold. Everything perfect. Everything without a soul. I arrived at the terrace and there they were. Everyone. Jason, my boyfriend, with his brand name shirt, and his watch shining in the sun. My Emily dressed elegantly, but with that face of worry that broke my heart. Richard Jason father sitting like a king on his throne with that air of, I own the world. Robert Jason brother with his expensive lawyer suit and his smirk of superiority. And Victoria. Oh, Victoria. With her jewelry, her perfect makeup, her designer dress, and that look. That damn look that evaluated me as if I were cattle at an auction. Emily saw me and almost ran towards me. Dad, you made it. She hugged me tight, but I felt her tension. I felt her fear. Come, I will introduce you. Jason approached. He extended his hand to me. Mr. Evans, nice to meet you. Emily has told me a lot about you. His handshake was weak, without strength, like someone who greets someone who does not matter to him. Likewise, a young man. Richard barely raised his hand from his chair. Welcome. He did not even stand up. Robert looked me up and down and let out a short laugh. Good afternoon? And he turned around. But Victoria, she took her time. She approached slowly with those heels resonating on the floor. She looked at me fixedly. And then she said with that sweet but poisoned voice, Oh, Mr. Evans, how simple you come dressed. Did you not have something more appropriate to wear? I mean, it is a family lunch. I smiled. Calm. Relaxed. This is my everyday clothes, ma'am. I am comfortable like this. I see. I see. She turned towards Emily. Honey, your dad always dresses so humbly. Emily swallowed hard. Dad is very simple, Victoria. He does not like to draw attention. How peculiar. We sat at that huge table full of food that I did not even know how to pronounce. Crystal glasses so fine that it was scary to grab them. Silverware, embroidered cloth napkins, everything perfect. Everything to impress. And the questions began. Richard was the first to speak. He wiped his mouth with that embroidered napkin and looked at me like someone looking at a stranger on the street. Mr. Evans, tell us, what did you do for a living? The question sounded innocent, but I had already lived enough to know when someone is measuring your value. I worked in construction, I said calmly. All my life. Ah, construction. He paused. Like a laborer. I started like that Yes, when I was young. Robert Jason Brother almost choked on his wine. A laborer, a bricklayer. That is right. They looked at each other. Those looks that say everything without saying anything. Those looks that classify you, label you, put you in a little box, and decide that is where you belong. Victoria let out a nervous little laugh. Oh, how interesting. Jason, did you know that Emily Dad was a bricklayer? Jason turned red. Mom, no, no. It is okay, she continued. Honest work is always respectable, right? It does not matter how humble it is. Humble. That word again. But in her mouth it sounded like something else. It sounded like less. It sounded like poor. It sounded inferior. And now asked Richard, do you still work in that? No, sir. I am already retired. I see. And what do you live on? Your pension. Emily looked at me with those pleading eyes, begging me not to say anything out of place, begging me to endure. I live calmly, I answered. I lack nothing. That is good, that is good, said Victoria, but her tone said the opposite. And do you have your own house, Mr. Evans? Or do you rent? I have a house. Ah, that is good. In what neighborhood? Oak Creek. Robert raised his eyebrows. Oak Creek. It is fine for someone of your situation. Your situation? As if they knew something about my situation. As if they could imagine what I lived, what I suffered, what I built with these hands. Richard poured himself more wine. And did you arrive in your car, Mr. Evans? Yes, sir. In my truck? What model? A Ford from 1998. The silence that followed was worse than any insult. Robert turned to see his brother and smiled with mockery. Jason lowered his gaze. Victoria covered her mouth as if holding back laughter. From 98, repeated Robert. My God, that truck is almost 30 years old. Does it still work? It works perfectly. I give it good maintenance. Are you sure? He said, with sarcasm. Listen, Mr. Evans, have you never thought about buying something else? Newer. Safer. I mean, at your age, you should have something better. I am fine with what I have. Richard intervened. It is just that look, Mr. Evans. In this family, we are accustomed to a certain level. Jason drives a brand new BMW. Robert has a Mercedes. I have 2 Audis. It is a question of image. Do you understand? Of status. Status. There it was. The magic word. The God to whom they prayed. I understand, I said without flinching. Victoria leaned forward. Mr. Evans, do not take offense, but we have to be honest here. Emily is like a daughter to us now, and well, it worries us that, well, she gets used to certain comforts. Jason can give her a good life, a life that perhaps you could never give her. That hurt me. I am not going to lie. That stabbed me like a knife. But I kept my cool. I gave her what I could. I answered. I raised her with love, with values, with education. She graduated from university. She has a good job. She is a good woman. Yes, yes, of course, said Victoria, waving her hand like swatting a fly. But that is the basics, right? Parents always say that. But let us talk about the important stuff. Do you have savings? Any investment? Something you can leave to your children when, well, when you are no longer here? Emily stood up suddenly. Victoria, that is very rude. No, honey, it is not rude. It is realistic. We are talking about a future together. We need to know what kind of family we are uniting with. Jason finally spoke. Mom, that is enough. It is not enough, Jason. You are my son, and I am not going to allow you to marry someone whose family is not at our level. What are our friends going to think? Our partners? I can imagine it already. Oh, Jason married the bricklayer daughter. There it was. Now without filters. Now without masks. The pure poison. I stayed looking at her. That woman with her expensive dress, her shiny jewels, her magazine house. And I felt something I had not felt in a long time. It was not anger. It was not sadness. It was disappointment. Disappointment in humanity. Ma'am, I said slowly, measuring every word, I was a bricklayer. Yes, I carried sand. I mixed cement. I raised walls under the sun, and I am not ashamed of that. These hands that you see here, these wrinkled and worn hands, built homes, built dreams, built futures for other families. What a cute speech, interrupted Robert. Very emotional. But the reality is different, Mr. Evans. Here things are different. Here money contacts, influences are required. Things that you do not have. And you believe you have everything I asked. Do you believe money makes you better people? Richard hit the table softly. It is not about being better, Mr. Evans. It is about being compatible. And frankly, I do not see how your family and ours can mix. Emily had tears in her eyes. Dad, let us go. Please let us go. But I did not move. I stayed there sitting, looking at them one by one. And then Victoria let out the sentence that started all this. She stood up from her chair. She pointed at me with her finger full of rings and said with contempt, You know what, Mr. Evans? You better stay in the kitchen with the help old man. That is where people like you belong, not here at our table with good people. We do not want you to feel out of place. The silence was absolute. Jason froze. Emily started to cry. Robert smiled victoriously. Richard nodded with approval. And I stayed there calm, serene, looking at her fixedly. Because in that moment, I knew something. I knew I had made the right decision coming dressed like this. I knew I needed to see this. I needed to see who they really were. I needed my daughter to see who they were. I stood up slowly from the chair. I folded my napkin carefully. I left it on the table. You are right, ma'am, I said with a calm that even I did not know I had. I do not belong here. And I turned around to leave. But before taking the first step, I stopped. I turned back and looked at all of them. I just want you to know something I said. Respect is not bought with money. Dignity is not measured with jewels. And class, the true class, has nothing to do with the size of the house or the model of the car. Oh, please, said Victoria. Is the bricklayer going to give us a sermon? I smiled. A small, calm smile. No, ma'am. I'm not going to give you any sermon. I'm just going to give you thanks. Thanks. For what? For showing me exactly who you are. And I left. I walked through that cold house. I went out to the perfect garden. I arrived at my old truck. Emily ran after me crying, Dad, Dad, forgive me. I did not know they were like that. I hugged her tight. Calm down, honey. It is not your fault. What am I going to do, Dad? What am I going to do? That is for you to decide, my love. But now you know what kind of people you were going to marry. I got in my truck and started it. Through the rearview mirror, I saw Emily standing there alone, crying, and my heart broke. But something inside me, something that had been asleep for a long time, had just woken up. I drove back to my house in silence. The traffic of the city was the same as always, but I did not feel it. I went on automatic, my hands on the steering wheel, my eyes on the road. But my mind was somewhere else. I arrived at my house in the modest suburb. That house I bought 25 years ago. Nothing out of this world. 2 floors, a small garden, painted white, simple, calm mine. I sat in the living room. I turned off the lights. I stayed there in the darkness, looking at the photos on the wall. My Sarah smiling at our wedding. My 3 children when they were little. All together at Christmas. Moments that would never return. Did you see that, my love, I told the photo of Sarah? Did you see how they treated me? Of course she did not answer me, but in my head I heard her voice. That sweet voice that always calmed me. Michael, you are worth more than all the money of those people combined. I fell asleep there on the armchair, and I dreamed. I dreamed of my past, of those hard days in Kentucky. I was 14 years old when I arrived in the city alone, scared with $50 in my pocket and a backpack with 2 changes of clothes. My dad had told me, Son, there is no future here. Go to the city, find a life, and never forget where you come from. I slept on the street the first 3 nights. I ate what I could until a man, Mr. Ramirez, saw me looking for work at a construction site. Do you know how to carry? He asked me. Yes, sir, whatever it takes. Then come tomorrow at 6 in the morning. I pay you $50 a day. And so it all started. Carrying bags of cement, mixing sand, learning, observing, asking. The other bricklayers made fun of me. Look at the kid, he thinks he is going to be someone. But I did not pay attention to them. I had a dream, and nobody was going to take it away from me. I worked like that for years, but at night I studied. I finished middle school, then high school, all in night schools. While my coworkers went to drink or sleep, I went with my books, my notebook, my worn-out pencil. I met Sarah when I was 22. She worked cleaning houses. We saw each other on the bus. We always happened to sit together. One day I dared to speak to her. What is your name? Sarah. I am Michael. And so it all was born. We got married a year later. She had a borrowed dress. I had a suit that Mr. Ramirez gave me. The wedding was in a small church. The guests fit in 2 pickup trucks. But it was the happiest day of my life. We lived in a small room. We shared a bathroom with 3 other families. We cooked on an electric grill. But we were happy, because we had love, because we had dreams. When Mary, our first daughter, was born, I cried of happiness and fear. Happiness because she was beautiful. Fear because I did not know how I was going to support them. But Sarah took my hand and told me, "You are the hardest working man I know. We are going to get ahead," and we did. Little by little, dollar by dollar. I woke up with the cell phone ringing. It was Charles, my son, Dad. Emily told me what happened. "Are you okay?" "I am okay, son." "Dad, that family is trash. They do not even deserve you looking at them." "I know, Charles. What are you going to do?" That question left me thinking. What was I going to do? I could forget about the matter. Let Emily decide her life. Walk away peacefully, or... "I do not know yet," I answered him. "Well, Dad, whatever you need, I am here. I love you." "I love you too, son." I hung up. I made myself a coffee. I sat in the garden. The afternoon sun fell on the plants that Sarah had planted years ago. I kept taking care of them. Every flower was a memory of her. The phone rang again. It was Emily. I took a deep breath before answering. "Dad?" Her voice was broken. "Dad, I do not know what to do." "Calm down, honey. Breathe. Jason called me. He says we should forgive him. That his family is like that, but that he loves me. That I should not pay attention to them. And what do you want to do?" Silence. A long silence. "I do not know, Dad. I love him. But I cannot forget how they treated you, how they humiliated you. Emily, listen to me well. You are free to choose your life. If you want to be with Jason, go ahead. I am not going to interfere." "But, Dad..." But I continued. "Never forget this. Family is a complete package. If you marry him, they are going to be your family. You are going to see them at Christmas, at birthdays, at meetings. Are you ready for that?" Another silence. "I do not know, Dad. I am confused. Take your time, honey. There is no rush. Are you going to support me? No matter what I decide, always, my love, always." She hung up crying, and I stayed there holding the phone, feeling that fatherly pain of not being able to take away the suffering from his daughter. That night I could not sleep. I stayed awake thinking about everything. And something inside me started to change. A decision was taking shape. The next day, Monday, my phone rang early. An unknown number. "Hello? Mr. Michael Evans." "Yes, speaking." "This is Robert Sterling, Jason brother." I sat up straight in the chair. "Tell me." "Look, Mr. Evans, I am going to be direct. We do not want Emily to marry my brother." "Excuse me what I am hearing. You and your family are not at our level. And frankly, it would be better for everyone if you convinced your daughter to end this relationship." My blood boiled, but I kept calm. "Are you asking me to push my daughter away from your brother?" "I am suggesting it for everyone good. Look, I do not like to beat around the bush. I'm going to offer you something. $50,000. For you to talk to Emily and convince her to break up with Jason. It is a good amount for someone like you." $50,000. They were offering me money, as if my dignity had a price. Are you offering me money to betray my daughter? Do not see it like that, Mr. Evans. See it as help. I'm sure those 50,000 would come in very handy. You can fix your old truck, renovate your house, whatever you want. I closed my eyes. I breathed deep. I counted to 10. Mr. Robert, I said with a voice that even I did not recognize, shove your $50,000 where they fit. My daughter is not for sale. My dignity is not for sale. And you and your family are going to learn something very soon. Oh, yeah? What thing? That money is not everything. And that there are people you never should have underestimated. Are you threatening me? No, sir, I'm just warning you. And I hung up. I stayed there with the phone in my hand, trembling, not from fear, from rage, from indignation. And in that moment, I made the decision. I was going to get justice. They were going to learn who Michael Evans was. Everyone was going to learn. On Tuesday morning, I got up early. I showered, I shaved, I put on a clean shirt. I ate breakfast calmly. Sweet bread with coffee, just like every day. But that day was different. That day I had a plan. I grabbed my old laptop, the one my children had given me years ago, and that I barely knew how to use. I turned it on. I went into my email. There they were. All the contacts I had accumulated during 40 years of work. Architects, engineers, construction companies, developers, businessmen, people who respected me, people who knew who I really was. I started writing several emails, making specific questions, investigating. I needed information about the Sterlings, about their businesses, about their empire they bragged so much about. At 11 in the morning, my cell phone rang. It was engineer Samuel Miller, an old friend. We had worked together on big projects. Michael, long time no see. How are you, brother? Good, Samuel. Hey, I need a favor. Whatever you say, just tell me. Do you know the Sterling family? Richard Sterling. He has import businesses in the hills. There was a silence, then a laugh. Richard Sterling, of course I know him. Why do you ask? I need information. Whatever you know about him and his family. Oof, Michael. That family is pure facade, brother. All show. But the truth is different. What do you mean? Richard Sterling is up to his neck in debts. His import business is going bankrupt. He has problems with bank suppliers, everything. That huge house in the hills is mortgaged to the roof. The luxury cars almost all on credit and behind on payments. I stayed silent, processing. Are you sure about that? Very sure. 6 months ago, he tried to do business with me. He wanted me to vouch for him for a loan. I told him no. That man is desperate, Michael. On the outside, everything shines, but inside, it is rotten. Interesting, very interesting. What is going on, Michael? What are you into? It is a long story, Samuel. I will tell you later. Hey, if you need anything else, count on me. You were always a straight man, not like that bunch of show-offs. We hung up. I stayed there thinking, smiling. Because now I understood many things. I understood why Victoria asked me if I had savings, why they were so interested in knowing my economic situation. They were looking for a family with money. They were looking for a lifeline. My phone rang again. It was Emily. Dad, I need to see you. Of course, honey. When? Now. Can I come to your house? Whenever you want, my love. An hour later, Emily was knocking on my door. She looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes, as if she had not slept in days. I hugged her. Come in, honey. Do you want coffee? Yes, please. We sat in the living room, she with her cup between her hands looking at the floor. Dad Jason and I broke up. My heart skipped a beat. What happened? After Saturday, I could not get it out of my head. The way they treated you. The things they said. Her voice cracked. I talked to Jason. I told him either he set limits with his family or there was no wedding. And what did he say? He said I was exaggerating, that his mom was just being protective, that I had to understand them, that they have a status to take care of. I clenched my fists. I told him that you are my dad, that I respect you, that I love you, that nobody is going to humiliate you like that, and I am going to stay quiet. The tears started to fall, and he told me that if I could not accept his family, then we better break up. Honey? And I told him, yes, Dad, that we better break up, because I am not going to allow anyone to treat my family like that. I stood up. I hugged her tight. She cried on my shoulder like when she was a little girl, like when she fell and ran to my arms. You did the right thing, my love. The right thing. Why does it have to hurt so much? Because you loved, and loving is never easy. But true love does not ask you to betray your family. True love respects you completely with everything, and your past, your people, your roots. She stayed at my house that afternoon. We watched old movies. We ate popcorn. We talked about everything except Jason. And for the first time in days, I saw her smile a little. When she left at night, she hugged me at the door. Dad, thank you for being who you are. Thank you for teaching me dignity. Always, honey, always. I watched her drive away in her car, and I felt pride. Pride in the woman she was, in the woman I had raised together with Sarah. But my work was not finished. Oh no, it was just starting. The next day, Wednesday, I received more calls, more information. It turns out Richard had fame in the business sector, but not good fame. He was known for not paying on time, for promising and not delivering, for living on appearances. On Thursday, my phone rang again. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Michael Evans. This is Richard Sterling. Ah, the big boss. The king of the castle. Tell me. Look, Mr. Evans, I found out that Emily and Jason broke up. That is right. And well, I think things got out of control on Saturday. My wife can be intense, but she did not mean to offend you. Of course she meant to. Uncomfortable silence. Mr. Evans, let us be businessmen practical. Jason loves your daughter, and Emily loves him. Why ruin that for a misunderstanding? Misunderstanding. Your wife sent me to the kitchen with the help. Your son Robert offered me money to push my daughter away. Is that a misunderstanding? My son did that without my authorization. I already spoke to him. And where is his apology? Another silence. Mr. Evans, what do you want? Let us speak clearly. There it was. The real question. What did I want? I smiled. A smile that he could not see, but that he felt in my voice. I want your family to learn a lesson, Mr. Sterling. A lesson they will never forget. Are you threatening me? No, I am just notifying you. Have a good day. And I hung up. I sat in my armchair. I looked at Sarah photos. My love, forgive me for what I am going to do, but it is necessary, because justice does not always arrive alone. Sometimes you have to go out and find it. On Friday morning, I put on my best suit, and that gray suit I had kept in the closet, well ironed, well cared for. I put on a blue tie that Sarah had given me years ago. I polished my shoes until they shined. I looked in the mirror, and I was no longer the humble old man from last Saturday. I was engineer Michael Evans, the man who built buildings, the man who raised empires of concrete and steel. I got in my truck, yes, the same one from '98, and I drove toward the north of the city. I had an appointment, a very important appointment, with engineer George Edwards, general director of one of the biggest construction companies in the country. We had worked together for 15 years. He respected me. He valued me. He knew what I was worth. I arrived at the offices, a 20-story building in the downtown financial district. Shiny glass, elegant lobby, people in expensive suits, coming and going. The receptionist saw me arrive. Good morning, do you have an appointment? Yes, with engineer Edwards. I am Michael Evans. She checked her computer. Her eyes opened wide. Engineer Evans, of course. Please come in. They are waiting for you. She escorted me to the 18th floor. Huge offices with a view of the whole city. And there was George, my friend of so many years, with that big smile and that strong hug. Michael, so good to see you, my brother. How long has it been? Too long, George, too long. We sat in his office. Fresh coffee, fine cookies. But what I had in mind was not courtesy. It was business. George, I need your help with something I told him straight. You name it, Michael, whatever it is. Do you guys have that project pending in the hills? The one with the residential towers? He adjusted himself in his chair. Yes. Why? Do you already have the structural engineering consultant? Not yet. We are looking at options. Why are you interested? I am interested, but with one condition. He raised his eyebrows. Which one? I want the presentation of the project to be public, with investors, developers, media. I want it to be a big event. That is not a problem, Michael. We always do presentations like that. But tell me why. You have always been discreet. Let us say I have my reasons. George looked at me intently, then smiled. It is fine, I will not ask more. When can you start? Monday. Perfect. I will send you the contract today. I walked out of that office with something I had not felt in years. Power, not money power. Position power. Power of respect earned with work and sacrifice. And what was coming now was going to be memorable. That afternoon I called Charles, my son, the lawyer. Son, I need you to help me with something. Of course, Dad. What do you need? I need you to investigate the Sterlings well. Everything, legal, debts, lawsuits, problems with the IRS, everything. What for Dad? To make them understand they underestimated the wrong person. There was a silence, then Charles laughed. Dad, what are you planning? Justice, my son. Only justice. I like it. Give me 2 days and I have everything for you. On Saturday, exactly a week after the humiliation, Emily came to visit me again. She looked better, more calm, more at peace. Dad, are you okay? I notice you're different. I am fine, honey, better than ever. Jason has been calling me. He says he wants to talk. And what do you want to do? I do not know, Dad. Part of me still wants him. But the other part cannot forget. Listen to me well, Emily. Love is important, but respect is fundamental. Without respect, love rots. It becomes toxic, and you deserve more than that. Her eyes filled with tears. How do you do it to be so wise? I am not wise, honey. I am just old. And us old folks have lived enough to know what is worth it and what is not. On Sunday, I received the email from George, the contract. I read it completely, every clause, every line, and there it was. The amount of my fees as main consultant of the project, $37,000 monthly for 2 years, almost $900,000 in total. I signed without hesitating. I scanned the document. I sent it back. Done. Official. On Monday morning, Charles called me. Dad, I have everything. Tell me. The Sterlings are sunk. Richard has lawsuits from 3 suppliers. He owes back taxes. The house is about to be foreclosed by the bank. The luxury cars are in the process of being repossessed for lack of payment. It is pure facade, Dad. They have nothing. How serious is it? Very serious. If they do not get money fast in 6 months, they are on the street. Perfect. Perfect. Dad, what are you planning? You will see, son, you will see. That same afternoon, George called me. Michael, the presentation of the project is on Friday. At the President Hotel. Big investors, media, everything. Will you be ready? More than ready, George. Hey, Michael, do you want me to invite anyone specific? Yes. The Sterling family. Richard Sterling. Tell them it is an exclusive event for businessmen and investors, that there will be business opportunities. The Sterlings. Those are the ones that... The very same. Oh, Michael, this is going to be good. You cannot imagine how much. I hung up the phone and sat in my garden. Sarah flowers were blooming. The afternoon sun fell soft on the leaves, and I felt complete because justice was close, very close. The Sterlings were going to learn something they had never learned in their life of appearances and lies. They were going to learn that true wealth is not in what you show. It is in what you are. And they were nothing. On Thursday, I received the confirmation. The Sterlings had accepted the invitation. Everyone. Richard, Victoria, Robert, and Jason. They were going to be there in the front row to see something they never expected, to discover who really was the old man they sent to the kitchen with the help. I went to sleep that night with a smile of satisfaction. because tomorrow was going to be a day they would never forget. Friday. The day had arrived. I got up at 6 in the morning. I showered calmly. I shaved slowly, taking care of every detail. I put on my best suit, the navy blue one I had bought for special occasions, immaculate white shirt, silk tie, Italian shoes that shone like mirrors. I saw myself in the mirror, and I liked what I saw. This was me, the true Michael Evans. I ate breakfast calmly. Scrambled eggs, beans, strong coffee, just like my mom taught me back in Kentucky. Michael never go to a battle with an empty stomach, she told me. And today was a battle of dignity. At 10 in the morning, I left my house. But this time, not in my old truck. This time I called a private chauffeur. A black Lincoln, elegant, discreet. Because today was not a day to go unnoticed. Today was a day to make an entrance that nobody would forget. We arrived at the President Hotel at 11. The event started at 12. The main hall was already prepared. Professional lights, giant screens, chairs arranged in perfect rows, businessmen arriving in their expensive suits, shaking hands, drinking coffee, and I there observing everything from the side, waiting for the exact moment. George saw me and approached. Michael, everything ready. Your presentation is the main one. You are the star today. Thanks, George. Did they arrive? The Sterlings? Yes, they arrived 10 minutes ago. They are sitting in the third row. They look anxious. Perfect. George put his hand on my shoulder. Michael, I do not know what happened between you guys, but something tells me today is going to be memorable. Believe me, it will be. I peeked discreetly into the hall, and there they were. Richard, with his striped gray suit trying to look important. Victoria with her red dress and her jewels shining, looking at everyone with that fake superiority. Robert with his arrogant lawyer air checking his cell phone. And Jason, my almost son-in-law, looking nervous as if something did not add up for him. None of them had seen me yet. They did not know I was there. They had no idea what was coming. 12 o'clock arrived. The hall filled up. More than 200 people. Important businessmen, developers, investors, specialized press. The master of ceremonies went up to the stage. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the presentation of the Valley Towers project, the most ambitious residential development in the hills in the last 10 years. Today we are accompanied by the team from Edwards Construction, leader in the sector, and as main consultant of structural engineering, a man with more than 40 years of experience, responsible for some of the most emblematic buildings of this city. An honor to have him with us. Engineer Michael Evans. The applause filled the hall, and I started to walk toward the stage. Firm step head, high shoulders straight, and then I saw them. Victoria eyes opened like plates. Richard jaw almost touched the floor. Robert stayed paralyzed with the cell phone in his hand, and Jason turned pale as paper. I went up to the stage. I grabbed the microphone. I looked at the audience and smiled. Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to be here. My name is Michael Evans, civil engineer consultant in high-complexity structural projects. And today I am going to present to you a project that is going to transform the hills. I started the presentation. Numbers, blueprints, technical specifications. I spoke with propriety, with knowledge, with the authority that 40 years of experience give. The screens showed buildings I had built, towers of 30 floors, shopping malls, bridges, hospitals. My name appeared on every slide. Responsible engineer Michael Evans. The people took notes, nodded, asked technical questions that I answered without hesitation, and out of the corner of my eye I saw the Sterlings. Victoria had stopped breathing. Richard was sweating cold. Robert tried to maintain composure, but his face gave him away. Jason had his head between his hands. I finished the technical presentation. The moment arrived to talk about investments. This project has a total value of $800 million. 3 towers of 40 floors each will be built. Luxury apartments, top-level amenities. And as main consultant, my compensation is $37,000. Monthly for 24 months. A total of $88,000 for this specific project. The murmur in the hall was generalized. Looks of respect, nods of approval. And I continued. But this is not new to me. In my career, I have participated in projects for more than $3 billion. I have worked with the most important construction companies of this country. And what makes me proudest is not the money I have earned. It is the satisfaction of knowing that I started from the bottom. Very bottom. I paused. I let the silence fill the hall. I was a bricklayer. I started carrying bags of cement at 14 years old. I slept on the street when I arrived in this city. I ate beans with bread for years. I studied at night while I worked by day. I graduated as an engineer at 35 years old. And today, at my 73 years, I keep working because I love what I do. Because honest work, no matter how you start, always has a reward if you put heart and dedication into it. The applause was deafening. The people stood up, ovation, genuine respect, and I there standing on that stage feeling something I had not felt in a long time. Validation. I did not need anyone to validate me, but it felt good that they recognized my work, my effort, my life. I went down from the stage. Businessmen approached to congratulate me, to shake my hand, to ask for my card. And in the middle of all that bustle, I saw the Sterlings, trying to leave the hall discreetly. But I was not going to allow it. I approached them. "Richard, Victoria, what a pleasure to see you." They stayed frozen. Victoria could not even speak. Richard tried to smile, but a grimace came out. "Engineer Evans, we did not know." "You did not know what?" "That the old bricklayer you sent to the kitchen with the help is an engineer. That old man with humble clothes and a '98 truck earns in a month what you do not see in a year." My voice was calm but firm. Or did you not know that dignity is not measured by the clothes one wears, nor by the car one drives? The people around started to turn to listen. Victoria had tears in her eyes, not of sadness, of humiliation. "We are very sorry. You are sorry." "Really? Look at Jason, young man. You let go of an extraordinary woman for not defending what is right. My daughter is worth more than all the money your family pretends to have." Jason lowered his head. "Mr. Evans, I did not know." "Of course you did not know, because you only see what you want to see. You only judge by what shines on the outside, but you never took the time to know who I really was." Richard tried to save the situation. "Engineer, can we talk? Fix this." "There's nothing to fix, sir. You already showed who you are, and I did too." I turned around to leave, but I stopped. "Oh, and one more thing. I knew you are looking for investors, that you have economic problems. I regret to tell you that after today, nobody in this hall is going to do business with you. Reputation is the only thing that really matters in this world, and you just lost yours. And I left, with my head high, with dignity intact, with justice served. I left the President Hotel feeling something I had not felt in years. It was not revenge, it was liberation, as if a huge weight had been lifted from my shoulders. The chauffeur waited for me outside. "To your house, engineer?" "Yes, please." I got in the Lincoln and closed my eyes. I breathed deep. I thought of my Sarah. I did it, my love. I did it for our daughter, for our dignity, for everything our parents taught us. I arrived at my house in the modest suburb. That simple house without pretensions that had been my home for 25 years. I took off the suit. I put on comfortable clothes. I made coffee. I sat in the garden. And I waited, because I knew the calls were going to start. And they started. The first was from Charles. Dad, they just told me what happened at the hotel." "Who told you?" "A colleague lawyer who was there. He says it was epic, that you left the Sterlings as what they are, a bunch of arrogant liars." He laughed heartily. "Dad, I am so proud of you. So proud." "Thanks, my son. I just did what I had to do." "Does Emily know?" "Not yet, but soon she will know." The second call was from Mary. Dad, Emily just called me crying. She says Jason looked for her, desperate. That he told her everything, that she cannot believe what happened. "How is she?" "Confused, Dad. Happy that you got justice for yourself, but also sad for everything. You know how love is. I know, honey. I know very well. Dad, you did the right thing. That question made me think. Yes, Mary, I did the right thing. Not out of revenge, but out of dignity. So that family knew they cannot treat people like that, so they learned that respect is not bought. The third call surprised me. It was a number I did not know. I answered, doubting. Engineer Evans. Yes, speaking. This is Jason Sterling. Silence. A long and heavy silence. Tell me, young man, I do not even know how to start. His voice was broken. I want to ask for your forgiveness. For everything. For my family. For what they did to you. For not having defended Emily when I should have. And why are you calling me now Jason? Everything already happened. Because I realized something today. I realized that I lost the best woman I have met for being a coward, for not having the pants to face my family. I stayed silent, letting him talk. My mom is destroyed. She does not stop crying. My dad is furious with me for having dragged him into this. Robert says I am an idiot, and he is right. I am an idiot who let Emily go for fear of disappointing people who only worry about appearances. I do not know, and what do you want me to do, Jason? Nothing, engineer. I do not want anything. I just wanted you to know that you are right about everything, and that if one day Emily gives me another chance, I swear on my life that things will be different. That does not depend on me, young man. It depends on you, on if you are capable of changing, really, or if you are just scared because things did not turn out how you expected. I understand. Thanks for listening to me. He hung up. I stayed looking at the phone thinking. That boy sounded genuine. But words are easy. Actions are what count, and he would have to prove it. That night, Emily arrived at my house without notice. She had swollen eyes from crying. Dad, her voice cracked. I hugged her tight. I know, honey. I know everything. Why did you never tell me? Why did you never tell me how much you earned, who you really were? Because it did not matter, Emily. To me, it never mattered. I am the same man with $37,000 a month as with $300 in my pocket. Money does not define me. What I am is defined by my work, my effort, my way of treating people. We sat in the living room, she with her cup of tea between her hands, me with my coffee. Jason called me, she said. Me too. What did you tell him? That words are easy, that he will have to prove it with actions. Dad, I still love him, but I do not know if I can forgive what happened. I cannot forget how they treated you, and you should not forget it, honey. But you should also ask yourself something. Is he like his family, or is he different? Does he have the courage to separate himself from that toxicity, or is he going to keep being the boy who obeys mommy and daddy, even if they are wrong? Emily stayed thinking. I do not know Dad. Honestly, I do not know. Then give yourself time. Do not make rushed decisions. Let the dust settle. And if he really loves you, if he really wants to change, he is going to prove it. But if he is just scared because he was ridiculed, then he is going to forget about you in a few weeks. How are you so wise? I am not wise, honey. I have just lived enough to know that people do not change overnight. Real change takes time, and it hurts, and it requires bravery. She stayed that night at my house. She slept in her old room, the one that still had her posters from her youth on the walls. And I stayed awake thinking about everything, about my life, about my Sarah, about my children, about what had happened. I did not regret anything. I did what I had to do, but I did not feel joy either. I felt peace, a deep peace of knowing that I defended what was right. Saturday morning, while we ate breakfast, the doorbell rang. Emily went to open, and there was Jason, with flowers in his hand, with red eyes, with the face of someone who had not slept. Emily, please give me 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes. She looked at me. I nodded. Let him in, honey. Jason entered nervous. He saw me and almost knelt. Engineer Evans Toss. Sit down, young man. He sat on the edge of the armchair as if he was afraid of breaking it. I came to tell you something important. Last night I had a very strong conversation with my family. I told them that if they do not change, if they do not learn to respect people, regardless of their appearance or their bank account. I am leaving. I am walking away from them. And what did they say? My mom cried. My dad shouted at me. Robert called me a traitor, but I do not care. I do not care anymore. Because I understood something I should have understood a long time ago. You guys are worth more than all the money and the fake reputation my family can have. Emily had tears in her eyes. I kept my face serious. Words are pretty, Jason, but I want to see actions. You are going to see them, engineer. I promise you. I am going to prove to you that I am different from them, that I can be the man Emily deserves. I hope so, young man, because if you break my daughter's heart again this time, there will not be a presentation in a hotel. There will be something worse, my disappointment. And believe me, that is something you do not want to carry. Jason nodded. I understand, and I accept it. He turned toward Emily. Will you give me another chance? I do not ask you to forgive me now. I ask you for time. Time to prove to you that I can change. Emily looked at me. I shrugged my shoulders. This decision is yours, my daughter. Only yours. She breathed deep and said something I did not expect. It is fine, but with conditions. Emily stood up from the armchair. She wiped her tears and looked at Jason with a strength I had not seen in her before. First condition, I want your family to ask for forgiveness. From me and my dad. A genuine forgiveness, not those fake apologies they give just because they were exposed. Jason nodded. They will do it, I promise you. Second condition, if we get married someday, I am not going to allow your family to disrespect me, nor my dad, nor my siblings. If they do it, once it is over, no second chances. Understood. And third condition, I want you to go to therapy, you alone, so you learn to set limits with your family, so you stop being the boy who obeys everything mom and dad say. Jason stayed silent. That last condition hurt him. I saw it in his eyes. But after a few seconds he nodded. It is fine. I am going to do it. Whatever is necessary, Emily. I got up from the armchair. Young man, one more thing. If you break my daughter's heart again, you are not going to find me in a hotel with an elegant suit. You are going to find me at your door. And believe me, it is not going to be a pleasant conversation. Jason swallowed hard. I will not do it, engineer. I swear, you better not. I left the living room. I left them alone so they could talk. I went to the garden to Sarah Flowers. I did well, my love. I gave a second chance to someone who does not deserve it. There was no answer. Of course. But in my heart, I felt peace. I gave them the chance. The rest depended on them. 2 days later, a Monday afternoon, I received a call I did not expect. Engineer Evans. Yes, tell me. This is Victoria Sterling. I stayed silent, surprised. I would like to speak with you. In person. If you allow me. What for? To ask for your forgiveness properly. I doubted. Part of me wanted to hang up on her. But another part, the part that my Sarah always fed, told me to listen. It is fine. Where? Could I go to your house? I do not feel like going out to public places after what happened. An hour later, my doorbell rang. I opened the door, and there was Victoria. But not the Victoria of the jewels and the expensive dress. This was another woman, without makeup, with simple clothes, her hair tied back without elegance, her eyes red from crying so much. Engineer Evans, come in. I took her to the living room. I offered her water. She sat on the edge of the armchair just like her son days ago. Thanks for receiving me. I know I do not deserve it. No, you do not deserve it, I said directly. But you are here. Speak. Victoria took a deep breath. These last days have been hell. I have not been able to sleep. I have not been able to eat. Every time I close my eyes, I see your face. I see the horrible words I told you. And I am ashamed. I am so ashamed. And why come now? Because you were ridiculed in front of all the important people of the city, or because you really regret it. Both things she said with honesty. I am not going to lie to you. Yes, the humiliation hurts me, but it hurts me more to know that I was so cruel to a man who did not deserve that. with the father of the woman my son loves. She wiped her tears. All my life, I grew up with the idea that money was the most important thing. My family always taught me that one had to keep up appearances, that one had to rub elbows with the rich, that poor people were inferior, and I believed it. I believed it so much that it became who I am. And now I asked. Now I realize I was wrong. That money does not define anyone. That you, with your old truck and your simple clothes, have more class and more dignity than me, with all my jewels combined. I stayed looking at her, looking for signs of falseness, of manipulation, but what I saw was genuine pain, real repentance. Mrs. Victoria, do you know what is the difference between you and me? Which one? That I never needed to humiliate anyone to feel important. I never needed to lower others to believe I was more. My value does not depend on making others feel less. I know, and that is why I ask for your forgiveness with all my heart. Forgive me for what I told you. Forgive me for having judged you. Forgive me for having been so blind and so cruel. There was a long silence, me thinking she waiting. Does your family know you are here? Yes, Richard is furious with me. He says I should not humiliate myself this way. Robert says I am betraying the family. But Jason told me it was the right thing. That if I did not come to ask for your forgiveness, he would not speak to me again. Good for Jason. Engineer. I know I cannot erase what I did. I know words do not change actions. But I want you to know that I am ashamed, and that if you give me the chance, I am going to prove to you that I can be a better person. I stood up. I walked toward the window. I looked at the garden, Sarah flowers dancing with the wind, and I remembered something she always told me. Michael, forgiveness is not for the one who hurt you. It is for you so you can let go of the weight and move on. I turned toward Victoria. Ma'am, I am going to tell you something. I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. Because carrying resentment weighs more on me than on you. Victoria started to cry. Thank you, engineer. But I continued. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean everything goes back to how it was before. You and your family showed me who you are, and that is not erased. I understand. If Emily and Jason decide to be together, I am going to respect that decision. But you will have to earn my trust, little by little, with actions, not with words. I am going to do it, I promise you. And another thing, if you disrespect my daughter, again, or me, or any member of my family, there will not be a second chance. Understood. Understood. Victoria stood up, extended her hand. I shook it firm, but without hostility. Thanks for receiving me, engineer. Thanks for being a better person than I was. Take care, ma'am, and think well about how you want to live the rest of your life. If surrounded by appearances or surrounded by people who love you for real. She left. I closed the door. I sat in my armchair, and for the first time in days I smiled. Not of satisfaction, not of revenge accomplished. I smiled because I felt my Sarah was proud, that from wherever she was smiling too. That night I called Emily. Honey, your mother-in-law came to see me. What? Seriously? Seriously? She came to ask for my forgiveness, and what did you tell her? That I forgave her, but that she had to earn my trust. Emily stayed silent. Then she said something that filled my heart. Dad, thanks for being who you are, for teaching me that dignity is not negotiated, but that forgiveness is always possible. You are welcome, honey. You are welcome. We hung up, and I went to sleep calm, because justice was already done and forgiveness was already given. Now it only remained to see if they were really going to change, or if everything had been pure theater. Time would tell. 3 months passed. 3 months where everything started to change slowly. Jason kept his word. He started going to therapy every week without failing. Emily told me he was working on setting limits with his family, on recognizing toxic patterns, on building his own identity, separate from his parents' expectations. And most importantly, he was treating Emily like she deserved, with respect, with love. with dignity. One Saturday afternoon, Emily and Jason came to my house, together holding hands. They looked different, more calm, more secure. "Dad, we have something to tell you," said Emily with that smile that lit up everything. "Tell me, honey. Jason and I, we are getting married." My heart tightened, not of sadness, of joy mixed with fear. Joy because my daughter was happy. Fear because I did not want her to suffer again. "Are you sure, honey?" "More sure than ever, Dad." Jason changed. He really changed. I stood up from the armchair. I walked toward Jason. I looked him straight in the eyes. "Young man, are you ready for this? To be the husband my daughter deserves?" "Yes, engineer, I am ready. And I am going to spend the rest of my life proving to her that I am worthy of her. And your family." "My family is learning. Slowly, but they are learning. My mom has changed a lot. She is no longer the same woman who humiliated you at that meal." I extended my hand. He shook it strong, like a man. "Then you have my blessing. But remember what I told you. If you break her heart, I will not do it, engineer. I promise you that." I hugged both of them. My daughters, my little one, who was no longer so little, and Jason the man, who would now be part of our family. "Then we have to prepare a wedding," I said, smiling. Emily jumped with excitement. "Yes, and Dad, I want you to be the one who walks me down the aisle." Was there any doubt, honey? And I want a simple wedding. Nothing ostentatious. Nothing of those things Jason family likes. I want something intimate with people who love us for real. "Seems perfect to me," Jason intervened. "Engineer, there is something else. We want the wedding to be in your garden, here in your house, where the flowers your wife planted are, where the heart of this family is." I got a lump in my throat. "Are you sure?" completely said Emily. "This place has more love than any luxurious hall." "Then so it shall be." The following 2 months were a whirlwind. Preparations, invitations, arrangements. Emily and Jason planned everything together. A small wedding, only 50 guests, close family and friends, for real. The Sterling family would come, yes, but only the parents and Robert, without big pretensions, without showing off, a genuine celebration. Victoria called me 2 weeks before the wedding. "Engineer, can I stop by to see you?" "Of course, ma'am." She arrived with a box in her hands. She opened it in front of me. Inside there was an old photo album. This was my mom. She was a seamstress all her life. She worked cleaning houses when I was a girl. And I was ashamed of her. I never took her to my social events. I never spoke of her work. I was ashamed that people knew I came from a humble family. She had tears in her eyes. She died 10 years ago, and I never asked for her forgiveness. I never told her I was proud of her, and that haunts me every day. She showed me the photos. An older woman with worked hands, tired but genuine smile. "She looks like my Sarah," I told her. The hands of someone who worked hard all her life. Exactly. And I betrayed her memory. I betrayed everything she taught me. That is why, when I saw you that day, when I saw your simple clothes, your old truck, something in me broke. Because you reminded me of my mom, and instead of honoring her, I rejected her again. I rejected you. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know my change is real, that I am not faking, that every day I work on being the woman my mom would have wanted me to be, the woman you deserve to have as in-laws. I returned the album to her. "Mrs. Victoria, we all make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them. Your mom would be proud that you are trying to change. Thanks, engineer. Thanks for not giving up on us. I did not do it for you guys. I did it for my daughter and for my Sarah, who always taught me that everyone deserves a second opportunity." The day of the wedding arrived. My garden was transformed. Flowers everywhere. White chairs arranged in rows. An arch decorated with Sarah favorite flowers. The afternoon sun fell perfect, creating that golden light that makes everything more beautiful. The guests started to arrive. Mary and Charles with their families. Emily and Jason, friends. And the Sterling family. Richard arrived differently, without airs of grandeur. With humility, he shook my hand. Engineer, thanks for allowing us to be here. You are welcome, Richard. Victoria arrived later. She hugged me. Thanks for everything. Robert was the last. He approached shyly. Engineer Evans, I never asked for your forgiveness, for offering you that money, for disrespecting you. I was an idiot. You were, but you are here, and that counts. Thanks. The music started. The guests sat down, and then I saw her. My Emily, with her white dress, simple but beautiful, without exaggerated veil, without pretensions, just her, my little one. She walked toward me. I offered her my arm. Ready, honey? Ready, Dad? We started walking down that improvised aisle in my garden, and with every step I felt Sarah. Presence, as if she were there walking with us. Your mom would be so proud, I whispered to her. I know, Dad, I know. We arrived at the altar. Jason waited for us with tears in his eyes. When Emily arrived at his side, I asked him in a low voice, Are you going to take care of her? With my life engineer? Then she is yours. I handed over my daughter's hand, and in that moment I felt something strange. It was not sadness of letting her go. It was pride of seeing her arrive. The ceremony was beautiful. Sincere words, real promises. When they gave the kiss as husband and wife, we all applauded, and I cried. I cried of happiness, of relief, of gratitude. At the reception, Richard approached me. Engineer, I want to thank you for giving a lesson to my family, for showing us we were losing our way. Today we sold the house in the hills, the luxury cars, everything. We are going to start over, with humility, with honesty. I am glad to hear that, Richard. And I want you to know something else. I started going to therapy too, with Victoria. We are working on being better people, better parents. That is all I needed to hear. The party continued until night. Laughter, hugs, genuine happiness. And when everyone left, I stayed alone in my garden, looking at the stars. We did it, Sarah. We raised a strong, dignified woman who knows what she is worth. And we found the way to forgive without forgetting, to do justice without revenge. 2 years have passed since that wedding in my garden. 2 years where life has shown me that second chances, when they are genuine, are worth it. Today I'm sitting in this same garden, the one my Sarah filled with flowers, and that now has a new life running among them. My grandson, Michael Jr. Yes, they named him after me. He is 1.5 years old, and every time I see him, I feel my Sarah is still here. In his eyes, in his laughter, in the way he grabs my finger with his small hand. Emily and Jason live in a modest house in Coyoacan. Well, let us say a nice historic neighborhood. Nothing to do with the mansions of the hills. It is a house with a soul, with warmth, with real love. Jason left the family business that was broke and started from zero. He set up a small consulting company, working honestly without pretensions. He does well. He is not a millionaire, but he is happy. And that is the only thing that matters. My daughter is radiant. She works part-time and dedicates herself to raising my grandson. I see her full, complete, living the life she always deserved. The Sterling family changed for real. Richard and Victoria sold everything that was pure theater. The giant house, the ostentatious cars, the unnecessary jewels. They moved to an apartment in the modest suburb near me. Victoria volunteered at a nursing home caring for people society forgot. She says every day she spends there heals her soul a little more. Richard got a job as a manager in a medium company. He is no longer the owner of the world. He is a common man working honestly, and for the first time in his life he sleeps peacefully. Robert, the arrogant brother of Jason, also changed. He left the high society law firm and now defends cases of workers, humble people who need legal help. I ran into him a month ago in a cafe, and he told me something I will never forget. Engineer, you taught me more in an afternoon than my family in 30 years. You taught me that respect is earned, not bought. I kept working as a consultant. I participate in big projects, yes, but it is no longer for the money. It is because I love what I do. Because every building I help build is a legacy. It is proof that the poor kid from Kentucky who slept on the street could do it, could achieve something, did leave his mark on this world. I keep driving my '98 truck. People ask me why I do not buy something new. I tell them this truck reminds me where I come from. It reminds me that things do not define people. Actions do. The other day, Mary, my oldest daughter, invited me to dinner. Charles was there too, and their families. My 3 children together, just like when they were little. And while we ate, Mary said something that filled my eyes with tears. Dad, thanks for teaching us that dignity is not negotiated, that it does not matter how much money you have or where you come from. Always, you have to treat people with respect. Charles added, Dad, when you are really old, when you can no longer fend for yourself, I am going to be there. Not in a residence, with me in my house like you were for us always, Emily cried. Dad, you taught us that love is demonstrated with actions, not with words, and that is why we are never going to abandon you. Never. That moment there, surrounded by my children and my grandchildren, I understood something. I understood that everything that happened with the Sterlings, all the humiliation, all the pain, had a purpose. Not only did it teach me to defend myself, it taught them to change. It taught Emily to value herself. It taught Jason to be a man. And it demonstrated to the world that class has nothing to do with money. Class is how you treat others when you have nothing to gain. A month ago, Victoria invited me to an event at the nursing home where she works. It was a celebration for the grandpas who do not have family. I arrived without knowing what to expect, and what I saw broke my heart in the most beautiful way. Victoria was there, serving food, hugging those forgotten old folks, singing with them, making them feel loved. When she saw me, she approached crying, Engineer, see this. This is what I should have done all my life. Serve love, not show off. I'm proud of you, Victoria. Thanks for not giving up on me, for giving me the chance to be better. Yesterday, Jason came to my house with Michael Jr. He sat with me in the garden while the boy played with the flowers. Father-in-law, I want you to know something. You saved my life. If you had not done what you did in that hotel, I would still be a hollow man, a man without values, a man who obeyed his parents blindly without questioning anything. I did not save you, Jason. You saved yourself when you decided to change. But you showed me the way, and that is why, while I live, Michael Jr. is going to know who his grandfather is. He is going to know he comes from a man who started from the bottom and reached the top without losing his essence. He is going to know that humility and dignity are more valuable than all the gold in the world. Today in the morning, while I watered Sarah flowers, I found an old letter she wrote me years ago. It said, Michael, my love, if you are reading this, it is because I am no longer there. But I want you to know something. I'm proud of the man you are, of the father you were, of the life we built together. And I know you're going to keep being that good man, that just man, that man, who never lost his essence despite everything. I love you always. I cried like I had not cried in a long time. And I spoke to her. I did it, my love. I did it well. We raised good children. We did justice. We forgave. And now we have a grandson who carries my name and who is going to grow up knowing what really matters in the life. Now, while I finish telling you this story, I want you to understand something. Life is going to put you through tests. It is going to humiliate you. They are going to make you feel small. But never, never allow anyone to take away your dignity. It does not matter how much money they have. It does not matter what car they drive. It does not matter what house they live in. If they do not have respect, if they do not have humility, if they do not have genuine love, they have nothing. And you who come from wherever you come from, you are valuable, you are important, and you deserve respect. I started carrying bags of cement. I slept on the street. I ate beans and bread for years. But I never lost my dignity. I never let the world tell me I was worth less for not having money. And today, at my 75 years, I can say with pride that I built a good life. Not perfect, but good. Full of love, of lessons, of second chances. The Sterlings taught me something important. That people can change. That we all deserve a second chance. But they also taught me that you have to defend what is right. That you have to set limits. That forgiveness does not mean being foolish. So I tell you, friend, wherever you are listening to this, never let yourself be humiliated. Defend your dignity, but also learn to forgive when the repentance is genuine. Because in the end, life is too short to carry grudges, but also too valuable to allow them to trample on you. And now tell me, if it were you, what would you have done in my place? Tell me. And also, from what city are you listening to me right now? I would like to know that this story reached your heart, that it made you think, that it reminded you, that it does not matter where you come from, you can always go far if you work with dignity and heart. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for your time. And remember, respect is not bought, it is earned. And dignity has no price. May God bless you, and may you never forget where you come from.